crazy, kind of weird story. Strange one to tackle as far as I'm concerned, but it's making the rounds in the tech segment, tech universe. It's actually kind of happened before, but this one has resurfaced the idea, the conversation around privacy on smartphones and when and where the boundaries live for what makes up or constitutes the right circumstance for a smartphone manufacturer to change its approach to how it treats the private content that exists on someone's smartphone.
Well said.
Holy moly.
Well said.
Ladies and gentlemen, Apple is back in the news in relationship to a criminal case regarding a smartphone that presumably has some helpful information on it. It's a very serious case. It has to do with the event that took place at the Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida. Of course, many lives affected by this event. And the accused in the case, prior to being apprehended, was he apprehended? Anyway, prior to the conclusion of those events, decides to attempt to destroy the iPhones that were present on his person. Since it's a legal case, I had to put on his person in there because this is very official right now.
Right.
You're seeing this is the legal version of me right here. It could have been a different way. If I didn't have this desk, I could have been at a different desk with a pen like this.
Lawyer Lou.
Yeah, you don't know. And maybe it's not too late.
No, it's never too late.
As long as these things keep converging, the general interests in the tech and so forth. Anyway, Apple's stance. You know how Tim Cook feels about it. They spend boatloads of money telling you about how much they care about privacy, so they can't come out in a high-profile case and just quickly hand over the keys to the castle and let the law enforcement into the device. Mm-hmm. They're not going to do it after everything that they've said publicly. Now, the question is it strictly principle, or is there some kind of marketing component where individual general users going to look at a story like this where Apple refuses to unlock the device, even in a very severe case like this, and then an end user is going to say, well, my private data is definitely secure because Apple ain't even going to touch it on this case. Mm-hmm. And then now it's like, well, I want to send Apple some money. But on the flip side, Apple takes some heat because there's the other customer who says, look, man, if I was personally affected by this, I want law enforcement to have every advantage to figure out how this happened, why this happened, to get into this particular device, to extract as much information as possible. And everybody's going to be like that if they were personally affected.
Right.
So it's a real slippery situation. Now, to add to the mix, to the chaotic mix, there's this other piece, which is the fact that the FBI and other law enforcement can probably get into this guy's phones anyways. For the record, he had on him an iPhone 5 and an iPhone 7 Plus. And the 7 Plus was attempted to be destroyed by putting a bullet in it. And there's an image of it at the top there. You can see, this person does not want you to get onto that phone. There is something on that phone they are attempting to hide. Now, the interesting piece here in the New York Times article is in relationship to the fact that they're probably going to be able to unlock it anyways.
Right. I think you said a month or something?
That's what it states here. Apparently with the tools available and a couple of engineers, they feel as though they feel pretty confident they will get into the phone. But as you know, in investigations like this, time is of the essence. You don't want to lose time if there's some sort of connection in there, some sort of upcoming criminal activity that could be thwarted. You didn't think I was going to say thwarted today. Neither did I. It's very difficult. You want to give that one a shot? Thwarted. That's a tough one, man. Your mouth doesn't want to do any of that.
No.
But yet, it's a word that exists. Thwarted. Time is of the essence, Will. It's like the movie. You watch the movie. It gets you to the philosophical conversation. Mm-hmm. You could stop a crisis, but you must abandon your privacy ideals temporarily. You must change the game and the rules to the game for the greater good. Talking about some Batman stuff right now.
Very interesting plot. Yes.
So anyway, they say they're going to get in regardless. So let us in now. What's the difference, Apple? What's the difference, Tim? Of course, Tim says, nah. No, thank you. For one of the two reasons or possibly both. Principle, the agreement that user signs with the company when you send those files to the cloud. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said previously, potentially some marketing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the only one speculating on that front. New York Times is doing the same or at least there's an individual in this particular article who's interviewed some type of analyst who thinks it's a great marketing opportunity for Apple to prove that to prove they put their money where their mouth is. And it's the money piece is important because now the Justice Department is actually taking Apple to court. And so Apple has to prepare for a legal fight directly with the Justice Department to defend their encryption on the iPhone. There's nothing easy here. There's nothing easy about it. There's no easy fix to this. Of course, Trump came out and he is saying, play ball. He wants to put a law in place to force Apple in the future, potentially. What is the statement over here? The Trump administration revived talks with Congress to come up with such a law. This type of law would it would be called the Communications Assistance for Law Enforcement Act. Or that's the one that Apple's currently using. I guess it would be a change or a new version of something like this that would, he put out an angry tweet. You have Make America Great Again in all caps. You have the word trade in all caps. Mm-hmm. And he says he's helping Apple all the time. And he wants Apple to step up to the plate and help our great country now. Now is also in caps, to be clear. That's 154,000 likes on that particular tweet. So a couple people saw that tweet. A couple of followers there. But like I said, it's definitely not simple. There's definitely this shrinking of individual privacy in the modern world. Mm-hmm. It's an onslaught. It's an attack on your personal data. It's going on all the time. They know everything about you, Willie do. They know what you ate for breakfast. They know how you like your toast toasted. You understand?
Yes.
They know it's a number 4 on the toaster because you like it lightly toasted.
Yeah. I'm aware.
It's a little crunch. Still soft in the center.
Brown. Lightly brown.
Lightly brown. Question is, how much of a fight do you want to put up, and where should that war be waged? And should it happen in situations like this, or should exceptions be made in situations like this if you can make the argument that potentially it could be for the greater good? And if you don't want to use this case specifically, the Pensacola case, you could go a step further and just say, what if it was preemptive? What if there was reason to believe that inside of some person's phone, and I'm not campaigning for this. I'm just trying to put the thoughts out there into the universe. What if there was good information, good intel, as you would say if you were in the FBI, CIA type?
Yes.
Yes. Intel. Not the company making the chip that's in this ThinkPad. If you had good intel and they could prove and go up the ladder and say, we have very good intel that Willie Doo's phone got some serious stuff in there.
And I also shot my phone. And
you also shot your phone to try to stop that group. And why are you shooting it? Is the thing. Yeah. Because it's over. The thing has essentially, you're hiding something. It's the only reason to shoot the phone is to hide something. Mm-hmm. Unless you just enjoy watching the goose chase or thinking or imagining the eventual goose chase, which I doubt. It's a very serious move to shoot the actual phone. So anyway, what I'm saying is if you had good intel preemptively, you could get to Willie Doo's phone and stop some sort of a catastrophe. I know you love being the example in this case. I promise Willie Doo's a nice guy. Worst case scenario, he's looking at he's watching Dancing Bacons. Worst case scenario. or
Shout out.
some type of rock climbing content. Worst
Yeah.
case scenario, shout out.
Which I do.
But I'm just saying, then you start to, and it's one of these things as well, Will, where as an outsider, when you're deep back in the crowd, you are disconnected from the situation. It's one thing to come from a place strictly of principle, but when you're thrust into it, if you are personally affected, all of a sudden things change. Your perspective changes at the moment in which you're embedded inside of it. If, like I said, you're one of the families affected by this,
Right.
you're going to have a different opinion.
And you talked about the ramifications of, the FBI will crack it.
That's the other thing. They're going to
And-
crack it.
And how much money it's
Good
gonna
point, Will.
take and how much time it's going to take.
Unbelievable.
It's like,
Unbelievable. You really brought it with you today. It's unbelievable. It's a perfect point he's making.
it's taxpayers' money.
Taxpayer dollars. If Apple just unlocks the thing that will eventually be unlocked regardless, you get to skip out on every single law enforcement office having to buy one of these $15,000 gray shift devices. How do you think they're paying for that?
Right.
Right? They're pulling it from you at some point. The taxpayer's going to pay for that, and they're going to have to get these devices for $15,000 plus the time involved. They're saying that it could take the work of a couple people for a month or something like this to get inside there or to find the right relevant data. So, yeah, there's going to be costs associated for sure if Apple doesn't want to play along to any degree. So, again, I am not campaigning for the idea that this should happen on a whim, that you should snap your fingers and Apple just sends the codes. But are we willing to entertain the idea that there could be certain circumstances that change that? I don't know. Or does the whole thing crumble underneath? It's open to interpretation. I'm genuinely curious to find out what the audience thinks about it, where they stand on it. Article published on the New York Times. You can go check it out for yourself if you want a little bit more information. But that's a quick recap. Complicated situation for Apple. And fact of the matter is, Will, what happens in this situation will affect and impact all kinds of tech policy going forward.
Right.
So it's a big deal. All right, well, it's a big deal.
Yep. It's still all gray.
Gray
Never
shift.
black and white.
Gray shift.
Yeah.
That's the $15,000 machine. That's
Oh,
why
really? Okay.
Yeah, that's the rig that you need to decrypt an iPhone 5 and 7 Plus with a bullet in it,
Yeah.
apparently.